record.
Here we go. We're live. Still no intro song, nothing like that. But I'm Aaron. This is Jason. We're here to talk about week 9 of the SoonerNation Fantasy Football League. We're gonna look ahead to week 10.
Wow.
It was a big week. We had a lot of close games. Look, man, I think the only way. Oh, that's cute. Look at that. Do you have the one where I was kissing your ear because your ear was so soft when I was? Yeah, there it is. It was so soft. It was all I could do not to just start nibbling.
Speaking of Aaron and Jason, there we are in
Yeah,
all the glory, live in person. Uh,
yeah.
Maybe we should do a live show at a restaurant of Chuck Mosley's choosing that he can't make it to one of these days on a Tuesday.
Chuckle choose, yeah, then not come. Uh, man, I think the only way for me to get through this season is to just go full dissociative disorder, and I have to divorce the manager of the Cobras from the guy that does this show, because otherwise, like, I mean, let's hear what the 2-7 guy has to say. Let's hear Mr. Genius. Come on. Uh, it's bad. We got 5 weeks left. 5 weeks left in the regular season. It's going to be over way too soon.
Yeah.
Um, at least we have real life NFL playoffs when fantasy's over, so it's a little bit, you can kind of ease your way out of it, but it's tough.
Yeah, seeing
Um,
that double digits when you write down the preview show, when you see it's week 10 already, it's actually hard to believe.
yeah, 5 weeks. That's nothing. It's a month sometimes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So well,
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the breakdown for a high scoring game
Yes.
that we covered this week.
Man, look at that. Yeah, Chris takes down Shane 153-96. Mahoney just protecting and serving his way to the fourth highest score of the season. Jeremy had 159.6 against True John week 3. You had 154.9 versus Brandon, and then I had 155 against Chad. So this is hallowed ground. I mean, there's only 4 guys have broken 150, and here he is. So uh, Dak Prescott's been elite the last month. His last 3 games, he went 43, 53, and 56. Like,
Wow.
anybody in the league would take that. I don't care who your quarterback is. You would love to have that.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs was playing like he was happy to have a new coach.
Wow.
Um, I will say, Jason, do you realize that Chris and Josh and I have gone to 2 Raiders games together, and within a couple weeks of both games, the coach has been fired?
I didn't know that. But the
Yeah.
stories about Josh McDaniels have been great. And Antonio Pierce seems like the greatest coach. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
people should want to hire Josh McDaniels to take a job before they get the next job, just so they're so beloved. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Oh
seems
yeah,
amazing.
it's like the rebound coach.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Somehow Mahoney wins this wide receiver matchup. Like, this is like an Ewok versus Stormtrooper level of upset, I feel like. I don't know. We got 2 touchdowns to Kate Otten. Like,
Ah,
Baker was just peppering him in that excellent Tampa Houston game.
yeah.
Um, this is the kind of game Chris maybe will never see again at tight end. But I don't know. Sweat stocks are decent, considering he's got a couple starters on bye. But man, when your opponent drops 153 on you, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if Gibbs is on bye or not.
No, you just go ahead and grab that Sunday afternoon nap. Maybe take the family dinner Sunday night. Just enjoy yourself. Don't have to worry about the stress when somebody just drops that number on you. Just gotta smile and take it to the next week.
Yeah,
So
just move on.
yeah. And speaking of moving on,
Speaking of
this
things to move on from,
wow.
and it should have been worse, honestly. The Ravens just destroyed the Seahawks. Lamar Jackson was in the middle of all of that, making it all work. Somehow ends up with no touchdowns. Uh, you can do this all day on both sides. If Burrow doesn't underthrow Jamar Chase and ruin his back, that's
Oh
20 points
yeah.
for me. But yeah, Pharisee's got that hot start. That Ramondre's touchdown and then both of Komet's touchdowns came within about a half hour of real time.
Yeah.
that was really disappointing. That was
Komet's first touchdown catch was incredible. It was as good as Keenan Allen's catch last night. I mean, it was
oh
just,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah. Those
beautiful.
are yeah. Keenan was so good that it's gonna people will forget Komet, but you're right to bring that up. He was remarkable.
Yeah.
I don't know. You try your best and you don't succeed. You get what you want, but not what you need. When Zay Flowers gets just one catch, stuck in reverse. We'll pull him for you.
Well, I'm sure you've got some more notes, but I had some other screenshots that I was taking during the game.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I can't wait.
This happened with 10 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game. You were ahead.
Yeah.
And
This
then with 9:18 left, John takes the lead. And then with 5:58 left, you take the lead.
Yeah.
And then, so if you see on the screen, Breece Hall has 7.8 points. And you've got this tenuous 1.1 lead. And then somehow, while playing offense, Breece Hall goes backwards by 18 yards while John gets an extra point. And with 3:22 left,
Yeah.
I mean, this ends up being the final score. I mean, that was it had to be a roller coaster. How did you do? How did you handle some of those moments at the very end there?
Well, I went from I stopped checking the score because I just the way every time Breece Hall had anything good happen, there was a penalty.
Yeah.
So he'd rip off a 20-yard run or a 20-yard catch, and then there's the holding. So I thought I was just assumed I was going to lose, and then I did check it at that one point when you said I had a 1.1 point lead,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, well, maybe this is going to work because unless he hits a field goal, I'm good. And then mysteriously, I'm losing again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of did it to myself. Prior to the Monday night game, I texted John a GIF of Ivan Drago saying "I will break you" and hitting Rocky's gloves. And as soon as I hit send, I turned to Sarah and I said, "What have I done? Like Drago loses that fight. I just made myself Drago. I just cost myself the game."
I fully believe
Why?
that your actions hundreds of miles away made the impact of what happened to Breece Hall
That's
and
that's
Cameron
an own
Dicker.
goal. That
Yeah. Yeah. That's and sometimes the things we say on this show, I sometimes wonder why we host it, because there's just things come back to bite us that if we weren't on this show, it wouldn't happen in real life on the actual field. So
yeah.
but I'm glad I took some of those screenshots because since my game was such a blowout, I had to have some sort of entertainment as I was watching a ridiculous and terrible football game. So I'm sure you want to go ahead and move on to another team that's that moves to 6-3.
Yeah. Jeff takes down Chad 122-85. These two combined, notice the defenses. That's what I want to talk about. 56 points combined. Never seen anything like this. Chad gets 20. That's going to win you a lot of weeks. Jeff's got 36 over here, like just almost doubling it. He got a great fill in for Sam Laporta. Jeff did with Schultz coming in. Ho-hum week for his running backs or for his wide receivers, but T. Higgins is going off on the bench. So Jeff's going to have some choices there. I imagine he's pretty disappointed in DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I went back and looked. He's not had a big game since last December.
Wow.
Hasn't been over 100 yards. Maybe he's just not that guy. I don't know. Their last two games have been brutal though. They're probably the two best defenses in the league, the Ravens and the Browns. So I don't know if we give Seattle a little room there, but well documented how much I like Chad's wide receivers, but none of these guys showed up this week. Just one touchdown for his quarterback, only one from the entire skill guys. That's just not enough with these anemic yard totals. Just a real sad aura all around Chad's team right now.
Yeah, the handicap sticker
It says it all.
Yeah, it's those are some elite names, but they just did not produce. And man, did the Rams look bad with Brett Rippon at quarterback against Jordan Love in Green Bay? I mean, I'm expecting
awful
more
quarterbacks.
I'm expecting more of Devontae Adams. He looks excited to be on the Raiders right now, so I'll be interested to see if what he does. But yeah, just a thorough beat down there, and 6-3 is a great record. So
Oh, he's in a great
tell
spot.
us about this matchup here. Jay continues to win.
Yeah, yeah, 108 to 77. Jay just continues to roll. Uh, I one of the notes I didn't read on my team is how I've got like I like my guys more in real life. I like my guys more than they are in real life. Like they're just not performing. But I have three of Jay's last number one draft picks, and
Oh,
I was so excited to get all these guys. I was thrilled to get Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall. And Jay let these guys go, and I was like, oh, he's a fool. I'm 2-7 with these guys that I wanted so badly. Jay trades them away. He's 8-1. I mean, what am I doing? He's whatever Jay's doing, it's working.
yeah.
It Tank Dell doing the heavy lifting for him.
Wow.
These defenses are the opposite of the defenses we talked about in the last game. Here they combined for 3 points. So we had 56 in the last game. These combined for a single, just like one sack. It looks like. I don't know. It's terrible. The curse of the Cleveland quarterback just continues to be this albatross for the dude abides. Josh Dobson is this amazing story though on his bench. So
Yeah.
that's like a fairy tale or just
Yeah.
evidence the league really is scripted. Jeremy's got some really tough decisions to make at wide receiver too. It's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts moving forward. But Jay's got to just be thrilled at the state of his team.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean Tank Dell. And yeah, he gets a win with getting, less than 10 points from the last three positions. That tight end kicker defense oftentimes are such huge swing
Yeah,
players in our league that usually at times aren't keepers, right? Where you're just
yeah,
hoping for the best. And
just cards.
just like, oh, not even 10 points, still breaks almost 110 and goes to 8-1. The clear favorite right now. Jalen Hurts is so consistent, no matter if
Yeah,
they play a good team or bad team. And
and
their
he's
ability to get
hurt.
what's that?
He's
Oh,
hurt. He's doing this with a. I mean, he's been sore. He's not like
yeah.
out hurt. He's like not fully himself, and he's still just rolling.
Yeah, and his two running backs both score over 10 points, and they have not been the picture of health in the past. We'll see how
Yeah.
with about halfway through the actual NFL season, how they do running forward. But Jay is seems like the favorite to me. So tell us about this. I'm not sure if battle's the right word. But I think was this our game of the week?
um. Well, it doesn't look like it should have
No,
been.
I don't think.
I
I
don't.
think our game of the week was a dud. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep going on this.
I don't know if you want to talk about the game of the week. Uh, 2 wins in a row for the Hellhounds. Jordan Love almost gets to that 30-point mark. The one we say is kind of like a good game.
Yeah,
Olave and Mostert scoring. Mostert just every week scoring a touchdown, just enough to carry the Hellhounds to a victory here. Um, Tough for John. He just traded for Dallas Goedert. Now he's out with a broken arm.
yeah,
Brandon just trying to overcome the bulk of his roster being on bye.
yeah,
Backups didn't come through in what's ultimately a winnable game. Coach Whiteside's got to be just disappointed. He did get a good game from T. Hill, as usual. No more Tyreek, of course, for Brandon, but he still got Taysom putting up the stats. I'm sure he had more in mind from Bryce Young Domingo than one catch for 5 yards.
yeah.
That's just sad.
It's the opposite of Trevor Lawrence to Christian Kirk.
It is.
except he loves the Panthers, and his number one overall quarterback throws three INTs. You just got to flush it if your stars are on by. You just got to
Yeah.
take it as a week 9 loss and just move on. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, he's right there. He's just almost. Yeah,
Speaking of good stories, though, you mentioned the scripting story of Joshua Dobbs on 5 days with the new team
Yeah,
leading them to victory, but with I can't pronounce his kicker's first name nor last name, but with a Houston kicker getting hurt, the backup running back coming in and kicking a field goal in that
yeah,
incredible
yeah.
Houston game was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, those are two like maybe the best stories we'll get all year, and
Yeah.
they're both on the same
Yeah.
Sunday. It's gonna be tough to beat that. It's so great,
You
so
mentioned
great.
you mentioned a trade. I do have a copy of that breakdown that
Yeah.
happened.
What do you think about this?
Well, it's a blockbuster, and also it kind of sets a potentially kind of sets a price range for a very elite player, an aging player. Uh,
Yeah,
it seems I don't know. Brandon, I thought was real close to a title, but it seems like with this trade, Josh is saying, I'm pushing all his chips in. I'm not, I'm,
yeah,
Friese he said, okay, I'm going to cash in all of this, future assets. And, if Garrett Wilson looks incredible, if he can get a quarterback,
somebody,
yeah.
just
And
anybody that can
so,
get him the ball.
yeah. But then now Brandon is set for, with a young roster with CMC, maybe the next couple of years. I don't know. It's man, I did not think anybody would pull Tyreek Hill away from Brandon, and Josh was able to do it. But that's a good haul for an aging wide receiver.
Yeah, and maybe he's got 8 years of an elite Garrett Wilson. Plus those are, I mean, two firsts. So Brandon's gonna have three first round picks. Um, probably, probably one in the top four, one in the middle four, and one in the back four. So he's set to draft.
Yeah.
Those picks were burning a hole in Josh's pocket. He, I know of at least one other deal he was throwing those at, not to me, somebody else. So well, no, and I think he did offer them to me at one point. So he's just been throwing them around.
Wow.
But he sees this as a year. Like maybe he sees this as his chance. Like what are we playing for? He's playing to win. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it
And
from
what a
both
title.
sides, but it does kind of feel like Brandon's given up a little bit on this year.
Boy, it seems like it to me, but if you're Brandon and you've got to feel like I have the pieces for a future title with a quarterback coming into his prime in year 3
Yeah.
right now. You got to feel good about what you're doing. And then, but you never know how many weeks a year CMC is going to be healthy. So if he can, it could have been Brandon's year. I'm not going to be doing the math if Brandon loses a playoff game to see how many points Tyreek would have gotten him. I'm not doing that math.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Aaron Rodgers, although he wants so much attention being on the sideline, I don't think he's going to be throwing him past this
He's
season.
just out there throwing passes. He's not
Yeah,
running.
yeah. So I'm glad we had a chance to cover that. But now we go to the Apple Fritters, Applewoods dud of
Yeah.
the week. Just an
Yeah.
absolute blowout. Let me have it, Aaron. My
Yeah. Change that game with a WEAK.
Yeah. Ugh.
Josh takes down the Karate Kids 113-64. Jason, if you would have started CJ Stroud, you would have won.
CJ Stroud. Are
Oh,
you
there he
saying that
is.
if I would have started somebody with 80 points rather than 15, that I would have done better?
I
Let's just
think
say,
you would have had a better score if you would have started CJ Stroud. I don't know why you didn't think to start him over Justin
hmm,
Herbert.
wait. 400, this now I'm going to interrupt your notes because I did a little bit of historical research myself,
Uh,
and continued to be just amazed at this. But I went back through 2010 and have every single game of over 69.5
wow.
points over the last, the 13 to 14 seasons. And
Oh,
you'll
man.
see that there's only a handful of games over 80 points. And this ranked 7th in total points in the RT Sports League since Vic in 2010 is when the furthest I went back. Like I could see the stats in RT Sports to be able to see where we stood. I gotta
That is
say,
remarkable.
the 80 is incredible from this rookie, but this is a fun list to look at, A2. It is a
Yeah, I
fun
love
list to see. And to think that Manning had 95 points in 2013 is absolutely stunning. I
it's
also
bonkers.
think that as a rookie, a lot of names on here twice or multiple times. It's just interesting to see that when you have this kind of elite talent, uh, one name on here notwithstanding is that he shall not be named on the Lydell cars. But
Yeah.
other than that, if you get on this list once, there's a good chance you're going to be on it. You're going to be on it multiple times. And I found that to be interesting, thinking about the points that we had from, again, this guy right here. Holy smokes. Now you can continue with your breakdown.
Yeah.
But you're mentioning of Stroud. I had to go into the historical breakdown of the greatest games in RT sports history.
That was remarkable. Really impressive how Aaron Rodgers he was on there a bunch, and then there was 8 years in between his 85 and his 83.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean that's a long time to be that good.
Yeah.
That is,
I mean, sometimes this was so fun to kind of look at.
yeah.
I loved
I wish it
seeing,
had the team owners out to each side. That would have been fun.
what's that?
I wish I had the team owner out to each side
Oh,
to be like, oh
well,
man, look how many, this with, because some of these guys traded teams a couple times. It just would have been fun to see.
Well, I have that, and perhaps later in the show I can make it on the screen. I actually have each week of what season and who owned them, and if they started or did not start.
Wow. Deleted
So
scenes, maybe.
this is good work. I'm not preaching this Sunday, so it's a good thing. But yeah, you go ahead and talk about go ahead and talk about me and Josh. Maybe I can put that on the screen here in a little bit. I'm pretty fast when it comes to copying and paste. So let us tell us about how Josh did this week against the hapless Karate Kid.
Yeah, I expected more than a combined 41 points for Tua and Herbert. Those are just underwhelming numbers. Those two guys are capable of just the huge games. Boy, CeeDee Lamb has been on a tear lately, the last few weeks. Now you pair him up with Tyreek. Tyreek getting the Tua combo points. That is a scary lineup. And you've still got Amon-Ra. So yeah, I guess maybe he goes 3 wide with Etienne. Like, scary lineup. Now, is Herbert still just the unquestioned quarterback of today and the future for the Karate Kids? Would you ever be willing to look past a college uniform and give the job to a more talented quarterback? Is there a controversy here? Is somebody on the trading block? Do you like the luxury of two guys?
It's a great question because no, I am not too proud to not start my favorite player in the NFL. He does not look great. His weapons, he's got one wide receiver, but the loss of Palmer and Williams and just the disappointment in Quentin Johnston, that broken left middle finger. CJ Stroud looks so fun to root for. Like, yeah. I will start CJ. I have no problem starting CJ Stroud. I have no problem going to buy a Houston jersey of CJ Stroud. I don't know if I want blue, white, or red. If it's two first, 2 seconds, and an elite wide receiver for Tyreek Hill, what is it for the only rookie ever to land on the over 80 point list over the last 14 years? I don't know what the haul would be. I don't mind having somebody that I'm rooting for so that when my fantasy team loses, I'm just not also crushed because my favorite player in the NFL also loses. It's like Brandon having Cam Newton. Yeah, it's I don't have a problem at all. I don't know if we want to go through this, but I did do copy and paste, and I don't know if you can see this, but I have each week. It's not as organized. I didn't know it was going to be on the show, but it is
right.
Who owned them. I guess I didn't do that each time. Oh shoot, I thought I did that.
Yeah, this is too hard.
Yeah, this is a little bit too much. People can have this document if they want. I did
message board.
Oh, perfect. I'll put it on the message board. And I probably won't go back through and find out where they were. I do have some moments when I was able to say, like, when some teams didn't when they weren't started or they were outside the playoffs. So we'll continue. I don't think it's a controversy. CJ Stroud may soon make his appearance for the Karate Kid. Very excited for the 82nd overall pick in the draft, the 10th pick of the 7th round, 1 pick after Jordan Love. The Karate Kid takes CJ Stroud.
Pick after Jordan Love.
Yes, it feels really good to kind of just take a flyer on this QB that no one else had taken. To have, I don't know if you're going to look at potentially players that you want. Uh, I don't know where he would be in your top five, but surely he would be pretty high as far as like quarterbacks to when sort of bank their dynasty team on.
That is big time, man. Look at this. Yeah, a bunch of losers at the bottom there. We got our kind of a clear cut bottom four,
Uh,
but a couple guys with 3 wins, so you never know. There are a
you
couple, lots of guys with the 4 wins. So
Yeah, you've got some wiggle room right here. I mean,
yeah, not
uh,
much.
I thought as we were looking at your game, I just thought like that it, it may end up being the difference between going to the toilet bowl and making that 8 seed, because I still think you're a dangerous team when it comes to it. With Josh having Tua to Tyreek and you having Burrow to Chase, those are terrifying combos that you have to play. That's not something anybody. Jay doesn't want to face Joe Burrow and to Chase in the first week of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that was the hope. That was the dream.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
the nightmare so far.
Point standings for the first time. The Karate Kid with his 67-point week bounces to third in the overall point standings. Ghost and the
Yeah.
Vipers not only have the best record, they have the best points. And then, oh my, do you
Yeah,
want
look
to
at
talk
that.
about? Do you want to talk about the pick'em for a minute?
I mean, I let the graphic speak for itself. Domination. I only missed 2 games this week, and it was by each one was a 3 point game. So I missed by a total of 6 points on the entire week.
Man, it's too bad you weren't
Pretty
in
good.
Vegas this weekend, leading up to this slate, because this was an absolute domination. A
Yeah.
3-game lead. We'll see if you get tight or if you can continue to. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, you texted me you're in the lead of the contest after the morning games. Just 2 weeks
Yeah, it was
ago.
in that mid range.
Yeah, and now I'm 5 games behind you. So
Yeah.
pretty stunning there. Quite the story for Survivor. Uh,
Yeah.
you texted me, who did you choose? And I thought to myself, my choice one, I chose Cleveland because I felt like I solidly clicked pick Cleveland and then saved my pick. And because on this show I've trash talked so much the Cleveland Browns and don't want to root for Deshaun Watson and Kareem Hunt. Maybe when Deshaun Watson was named the starter, it just like retroactively bounced me out. So I'm finding out with only 4 teams to play that I have yet to pick a survivor. And so I have to choose a team. And I choose the Chargers on the road, thinking that this is going to be, I'm going to have to need a huge game from Justin Herbert. And it was obviously not a great game from Justin Herbert. Herbie only needed to outscore Josh's Chargers defense by 40 points. So you're thinking surely this is not going to be
possible.
possible. Yeah. Maybe 20% of the time. It had happened multiple times this year that Herbie had outscored the Chargers defense. So I was hopeful. And then when the punt return touchdown returned, I had to start thinking
right off the bat.
And then an early fumble, an early interception, and I was like, and then Herbie's not throwing anything. Eckler's unstoppable at the goal line now. I had to take some solace in the fact that my Chargers allowed me to see Week 10 in the Survivor contest with you and Josh. So it was quite the ride. I was pretty nervous going into Monday night, not because of Herbie, but importantly, I'm pretty competitive, and I do like the Survivor contest, and I'm glad to see Week 10.
Yeah. Well, and now you still have Cleveland. You can pick another week.
Yeah, for sure.
You're the real winner.
I don't know if I want to just keep with the victory there or not. So our best ball rundown this week had a really tight game between you and the Raging Rhinos. You can see that. Yeah. I had a really tight game with the Red River Ranger. I find it interesting that Galloping Ghosts get a win over the Pharisees. Pharisees go to 1-8 in best ball. But also, I went down and looked at every roster. Josh Weiss is down to 1 quarterback. A lot of teams, have had some injuries, and so in this league, it doesn't seem like you're going to do very well if you don't have a quarterback. I'm down. I'm have no tight ends. There were multiple teams this week that did not have with multiple players on bye that they just had losses. And so it'll be interesting to see if Josh Weiss is able to survive with just one quarterback left. But man, see the CJ Stroud led Gridiron Vapors.
Look at that. With no kicker.
No kicker. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to lose if you score 80 points with your quarterback. Look at that stat line: 470 and 5 with an extra 2-point conversion. Here's our best ball standings overall, and then via division. I need to go back and try to check on how the playoffs work. I don't really know how the playoffs work. So, but this is where we stand right here. Goodness, let's not talk about the Pharisees, and let's continue with the Week 10 preview. Are you ready to break down the week ahead?
Yeah, let's get it on.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, Mahoney, winner of 2 in a row, 4 of his last 5, coming off high score of the week. Pretty hot through the middle of the season. Tolkien coming off consecutive losses, getting a lot of guys back, but now he's got to adjust to the post Tyreek Hill life. Garrett Wilson's got that bright future, but boy, for now, Brandon's going to miss those points. I could see Trevor Lawrence putting up a lot of points versus the 49ers. Dak ought to just feast on the Giants, though. He played him in week 1, and they killed him so badly he got benched because they were winning so much. I think Dak eats this time. I think he's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. I mean, they're terrible, but I do like McCaffrey and Aaron Jones more than Josh Jacobs having to run against the Jets. I don't really like any of the receivers for anybody. Brandon's have higher upside. I'm going to go Tolkien. Give me some Tolkien.
Okay. This is the first time I think I've ever said this out loud on the show after 10 weeks, but I'll take Chris Lahan. My unwavering faith in Brandon's team continues to lose. I'm 1 game behind in the standings because we only had 1 game different. I like to pick opposite of you. I was leaning towards Brandon, and if you're going to take Brandon, I'll take me some Dak Prescott to just slice up the New York Giants and a quarterback with a gangster name. Tommy Gunn? No, what's the name of the quarterback led by
Tommy DeVito?
Tommy DeVito. Yeah. Holy, what a name and what a terrible quarterback. Dak's bad. And this might be a get right week for my friend Tony Pollard. We can only hope. So I'll take the Mahonies and look forward to seeing how you break down this game versus a 2-7 and 3-6 team. One of our friends on a podcast might say losers go home match.
Both of these miserable teams are just on 4-game losing streaks. It's got to get better for one of them. It's going to be so much worse for the loser. I like the Cobras to win at quarterback. I like them to win at running back, but I'd feel a whole lot better if Montgomery's ribs stay sore for another week. I think no need to rush him back. Let's just rest him. They're in good hands with Gibbs. Let's not play Montgomery. Jamar Chase has a sore back, and then no matter who else I throw out at wide receiver 2, Jeremy's going to be better at receiver. Denver has traditionally been abysmal versus tight ends, so I'm hoping Dalton Kincaid just continues that ascent. Taking the Cobras. You root for Deshaun if you want.
No. I know I've never picked Chris to win, but I can't pick the dude abides. Aaron, your team is it's got those names where it's got the blue chipper stamp where you're just like, look at these guys. They're going to win. And I think that the Cincy Houston game could be a 39-37 thriller. But man, that drive, the 2 drives that started the Cincy Buffalo game was just so thrilling to see both of those quarterbacks just shred those defenses. Those first 2 drives were awesome.
Making throws that you don't see from these other jabronis. No.
I mean, and when you've got Tommy DeVito and he can't complete a pass, when you've got the Toon guy Arizona who can't complete, I think they had 54 total yards is what I remember seeing against Cleveland. Can't complete a pass. It's Joe Special, and I'm not gonna ever choose Deshaun Watson. So congrats early that I've chosen. I think that may be the first time I've chosen Chris. Maybe the first time I've chosen you. And we get to a game here between the Ghosts and the Romps.
Man. Yeah, Ghosts have won 2 in a row. Rompers limp in, losers of their last 2. Hard to see a path for either of their fortunes reversing here. Even with his backup in, I like Goff for Weiss over Taylor Heineke. Josh, even when he brings in his backup quarterback, he still gets those combo wide receiver points. He's got Amon-Ra. Um, Brian Robinson has been real dependable this year, but he's not in the class of Etienne. Rashad White is looking better lately.
Looked great this week.
Big edge at running back, right? Yeah. Chad's wide receivers, I they've got potential for big scores, but they're not in that same tier with CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra, and even with Tyreek on bye, I think Josh is still better there. Mark Andrews is the only position I kind of like Chad over Josh. Well, and the Ravens defense, I like that better too. But you got an easy ghost win.
Yeah, easy ghost win. I think that the ghosts in both leagues, that's the last quarterback that Josh has. He's riding with Jared Goff the rest of the way in the best ball league. But man, surely the team who played Josh last week should have won because he had Amon-Ra St. Brown and Etienne on bye. Whoever got to play Josh last week, super great week to play Josh. Congratulations on that win. Convenient. I don't remember what happened in week 9. Just already moved on to week 10. But yeah, I'm taking the ghosts to beat the handicap sticker rompers. So, this one looks a little bit odd because I want to say thank you to the 6 owners before 8:20 in the morning that had changed their lineups. So when we make our show on Tuesday, we can be able to have an somewhat updated, no free agent pickups. I have Herbert in here, but I'm leading CJ Stroud against Cincy. And so you've got, but the Sweat Sox have so many buys. I wanted to put their whole roster in there so people could see that some of the he may have at his skill position. So to break down this week for us, including all 15 to 16 players on Shane's roster.
Wow, look at that. This is unprecedented ground here. The Karate Kids have lost 2 in a row. The Sweat Sox have lost 4 of their last 5. I'm sure you bribed Commissioner Lahan, so you get to play the Sweat Sox the week the Eagles are on bye. Probably the same payment that let you play Josh last week. That didn't work out for you.
Yeah, I do lots of off-season work when it comes to working with the commissioner. It's a little trick I learned from former Commissioner Aaron Copeland.
Moving on. You got some big names on bye too, though. Kelsey out, Cooper Kupp out. So this is like a lesser version of the game we should get between both of you guys. Like neither of you are going to be
maybe like a JV matchup, maybe our JV squads.
Yeah, this is like a preseason game. Not everybody's going to play.
Yeah.
Quarterback edge, I'm going Josh Allen. Despite what I saw out of Stroud, what I've seen out of Herbert, Josh Allen. Come on. At running back, Gibbs was amazing in his last 2 starts ever since he got off the Hellhounds, really. Who's Shane going to fill that other spot with? I don't know. I like Pollard and Walker better, assuming Walker's health is okay. Without A.J. Brown, I think your receivers are better. I don't know what you're going to do at tight end, but it's not like Hayden Hurst is going to make any kind of difference on the other side. I'm going to go Karate Kids in an ugly one.
Oh, well, it's very kind of you. I did catch Shane on a tough week. If you were to choose, you'd rather have Shane on the week that the Philadelphia Eagles are on a bye than even his quarterback on a bye. But
I think so.
I'll be interested to see who the Sweat Sox pick up for a backup quarterback because Garoppolo and now Jones both replaced and out with an ACL tear. So he may have to use that waiver wire now. So there's when you go to team and then waiver wire, there's this whole page that lets you go and choose. Should I tell him about this, or maybe we should?
Let one of his assistants will show.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, one other thing about this game is like when I was trying to choose between 2 players, I've been surprised it hasn't happened. Maybe it has in the past, but has anybody ever gone to a message board and said, "Okay, opponent, you choose who you want to play against. I'm putting the choice in your hands. Do you want to start Herbert or do you want to play against Stroud?" I'm surprised there hasn't been more like letting the competitor choose the starter who they're going to play against, because that seemingly would be kind of like a playoff choice where you're like, I'm going to choose my opponent. Yeah. That might be fun. I'd be surprised if anybody does that in the future. I'm not doing that, but it might be fun in the future to do or to think about in the weeks to come. We've only covered 4 games.
Yeah.
Apologies to Brandon for not covering his game last week. But this week, we have 4, normal games. We have 2 games of the week this week.
Yes.
First game of the week is brought to you by all of Travis Kelce's commercials. Experion, we've got State Farm, we've got DirecTV, Pfizer, and Campbell's Chunky Soup. So I want to say thank you to Travis Kelce and his agent for the constant barrage of advertisements we get each and every week. That agent is so good, reached out to the Sooner Nation YouTube fantasy show in a collaborative effort to sponsor the game of the week with the Raging Rhinos and the Vipers. I know that Pat Mahomes is on bye, but that agent had to have Travis Kelce in front of everybody this week. And so break down game of the week between two elite teams, although we've got some buys.
Yeah. Rhinos, 5 wins in a row. Vipers have won 6. Something's got to give. This is like coming at you. 8-1 Vipers, best record in the league. They got a bunch of total points. Unquestioned number 1 team, I feel like.
Yeah.
Both their vaunted quarterbacks are off this week. It's fun that they're both off and they have to adjust. No Mahomes, no Hurts, respectively. I like Jay to have the advantage in the backup quarterback battle. Sam Howell's put up some big numbers. Interceptions notwithstanding, he's kind of like a modern Dante Culpepper because he will just heave it.
Yes.
I think Jay's got the edge at wide receiver with the old workhorses, Henry and Mixon. They're both running really well, better than they looked last year. Both of them, I think. Eckler, you mentioned earlier, he's scoring like crazy now. He's kind of back in his old form. Jeff's got to be relieved about that. I feel like wide receivers are just a wash. Like they've got guys that are capable, but if they get a big game, you're not surprised. If they don't do much, you're not surprised. Jay with a huge edge at tight end. I thought when the new quarterback came in for Minnesota, we just talked about him. I forgot his name. He was throwing the ball.
Dobbs.
Yeah, Dobbs was just throwing to Hawkinson every other play. It felt like that was like his. I don't know anybody on the team, but I see big old TJ running right in front of me every time. I don't know why that changes. And then epic defense battle. This is so interesting to me. These are 2 of the 3 best defenses in the league, I think. I'm gonna go with the Vipers in a wild one.
Okay, I'm taking J2 mainly because of that Dallas Cowboys versus the Giants. Dayball continues to be absolutely exasperated with this team. It's not going to stop. I mean, there just doesn't seem to be any hope. I just think quarterback wise, they need a Josh Dobbs themselves to, I know the trade deadline's over, but they need to sign somebody off of the street to be able to complete a pass. And you don't want Tommy DeVito facing Micah Parsons. If I were Tommy DeVito, like I would maybe hope to get traded. Like I'm not up for the task. If I can't complete a pass, I'm not going to complete a pass against the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. So I'm taking the Vipers mainly because of quarterback and defense. And Jay's 8-1. He continues to find ways to win, even when he's got bye weeks. So he's a great owner, and that leads us to game of the week number 2. Now, game of the week number 2, you have set up as the True John versus False John game.
Yes.
And for the title of True John. And so
awesome. Will the mantle change hands?
But it perhaps will. And it is a huge thank you to 2 different sponsors for this game with the True John False John game. First one is Slippery When Wet, the of course legendary and famous cover band for John Bon Jovi. So this
False John.
Well, this is False John, right? But then you've also brought to you by John Bovey, the Bon Jovi opposite band, led here, of course, by Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis on Saturday Night Live about 10 to 12 years ago when they were doing the opposite band. So you've got the cover band and the opposite band when it comes to Bon Jovi or John Bovey cover bands as we go to the True John, False John matchup. Break it down, Aaron.
Oh, that is inspired, Jason. Good job. So somebody's going to retain the title of or earn the title of True John and False John to last another year. So this is a big one. The stakes are rarely higher than this. Boy, the way Lamar Jackson has been playing, and then the Browns defense, the way they played that, I don't know how many fantasy points he's going to get, but that's going to be a fun one to just
Yeah.
watch. Like,
Game of the week.
man, that is going to be awesome. On paper, I probably prefer Lamar to Brock Purdy, but man, Purdy versus the Jags is just such a better matchup. So I like him to put up more points. Saquon's got Dallas, and we saw what they did to them in the first week, and the Giants' line is worse now, and their quarterback is two levels worse. Because at least Daniel Jones has seen all the pressure before. I mean, he's got an idea what to do. Like,
Yeah.
boy, DeVito. So I don't know how Barkley gets anything done. What's going on with Bijan in Atlanta? Like Arthur Smith, like I've defended him for years, but he's lost me. He seems like a dolt. Yeah, be more like Mike McDaniels, Arthur. I guess I'm gonna go Pharisees in the running back matchup. Wide receiver seems like kind of a wash. I like John's guys. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
John Mindenhall.
Okay.
I don't really like Middendorf's guys, but they kind of score. I guess I like the tight end for the Pharisees. I think it's a ugly win for Pharisees, John.
Okay. I think that John at 2-7, you're right about Bijan. You can't feel great as John Middendorf thinking you've got this cornerstone of your team that's looked amazing in the first few weeks, and then you get to week 9 and week 8, and you just have huge question marks about their usage of him. It just would be so terribly frustrating to see all that talent and just like not being used. I mean, it goes back to the rotating owner that we've had for the tight end named Kyle Pitts that just continues to be rotated and traded amongst owners because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, there are so many teams that will be hard to root for. I feel like I say this all the time. The Jets would be really on the top of that list, but how frustrating would it be to be an Atlanta Falcons fan? Especially when you think the division's just right there. And I don't know, just it's tough. But I also am taking John Middendorf to be the true John. You said Brock Purdy has a better matchup, but man, Brock under pressure has just not performed well. And it seems like it's too bad the Hellhounds don't have any of their first, second, or third round draft picks because there could be a quarterback up for grabs, but the price is going to be pretty heavy, and he's traded away his future already. And I'm not sure if his future is starting. So I'm gonna take Middendorf in the John Bon Jovi John Bovey game of the week. So thanks for all the work you do each week. I hope that people saw on the message board last week kind of how the way that you prepare for each game. And so thanks for that. Thanks for your chipper attitude after a excruciating loss with an 18-point slide at the end. And I appreciate the effort you're putting into the show. And I think I don't know. I think the 8 spot's still up for grabs for you. I think that there might still be a song that you could create for us in the future. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you want songs? I need wins. There's nothing to sing about right now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate
I want a guitar. I want another one of those 3 touchdown games for Chase where you bring a guitar and a smile on your face. But appreciate the chipper attitude. A pretty good show, I think, for us with both teams with one with just an absolute dud of a loss and one with a heartbreak loss. To be able to bring this kind of energy, hopefully someone will actually watch to the end. It's probably been 45 minutes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Good job, Jason.
Yeah, you too, buddy.